Okay, let's get started. Welcome to this webinar about trigger automation and the triggered automation summary dashboard. Um, my name is George. I'll be taking you through the webinar today. Before we do get started with the content, um, if you do have any questions, you can ask them using the Q&A panel um, here in Zoom. We'll be sure to get to your questions either during or at the end of the presentation. Let's get started. So before we go into the specific content, let's talk about NetBrain itself, right? So NetBrain's next gen no-code automation. Really, the mantra that we have is simple and powerful. We're trying to make everything we do simple to configure, but powerful to you and your team, right? So you get a lot of value out of what you're doing. And NetBrain is a no-code automation platform, and we're using our automation, in these 5 different use cases, right? Outage prevention, diagnosis automation, application performance, network security, and protective change. And the idea here is that the automation can be built by anyone, so whether it's senior engineers on your team or just other team members, but it can be used by everyone. SnapBrain becomes the knowledge base to use all of your team members' knowledge. So, if the senior engineer that's really good with your Juniper routers is not there or leaves, his knowledge is still somewhere, and you can still be able to leverage that knowledge every time you need to troubleshoot. So that's kind of the high level idea here. But these kind of 5 use cases can actually be broken into 3 key workflows that NetBrain helps out with. The first is the troubleshooting workflow. So for each problem or incident, we can have an incident summary dashboard that tells us, shows us things like results of triggered automations, which I'll talk about further. Um, all the different diagnoses that were performed, and then it allows for easy collaboration because anyone can look at this dashboard and see what's been done by the machine, what's been done by, the level 1 engineer, and then they can understand for the level 2 engineer what they need to do. Or if you're going back to an issue, you can see what each different individual did to find the root cause. Assessment workflow. So for each rule and policy in your network, whether that's security-based, operational, we can create a dashboard and use our NetBrain's automation to continuously assess these different rules and policies network-wide. So not just on one map or one site, but every single Juniper router in the network, we can assess, its BGP stability, for example, and we would know and be alerted to or see the reds in the dashboard when neighbors change states or something of this nature. And then change. So for each change, again, we can have a nice dashboard that shows us before, during, and after the change. And this allows us to discover and understand potential rules and impacts, that are important to this change and impacts that could happen. Auto validate that the change went into place, right? Making sure the change went in and validate that there was no unintended impact or consequences. Also, we can continuously protect our change by turning some of these checks into continuous assessments going forward. Now, let's specifically talk about the triggered automation assessment. So as a quick intro, and I'll demo this as well, NetBrain's automation can be triggered by a third-party platform or tool, such as your network monitoring system or your ITSM. When those solutions get alerts or tickets, they can automatically trigger NetBrain without a human in the loop. And with API, and this is all done through API, and with webhooks, we can do things like auto close a ticket if the problem is deemed to be noise, auto open issues, auto open if issues are found, so we can go the other way with a webhook. And also we can change things like the priority of a ticket if we notice impact. And what it results to is whenever we have these triggered events where something triggers NetBrain, we can catalog that into the built-in triggered automation dashboard, which will help us summarize everything that NetBrain's automatically helped us out with. And I'll go into this in details in the environment. So I'm actually going to end it there and go into a demo. So before we go to the dashboard, let's understand NetBrain triggered automation. So I'm actually going to go not into NetBrain first, but into ServiceNow. So this is my example of a NetBrain trigger. So in this case, it's a ServiceNow ticket. A user called me and said, "Hey George, this application is very slow," right? Now, what NetBrain does is what happens is once this ticket is submitted, it triggers NetBrain, right, through an API call. And NetBrain is able to analyze all the fields of the ticket and use logic, no-code logic that we have built to determine what type of incident this is. So in this case, it's taking keywords out of this description, app one, application, very slow, right? And we have a list of diagnostics we normally do when someone is complaining of a slow application. And with the name, we can actually run the specific diagnosis for that application path. And when NetBrain does that at the time of incident, so if this happened at 3 a.m., NetBrain's running this automatically. NetBrain embeds that result into the ticket. So you can see here, 7:57 in the morning, within 1 minute, all of the diagnosis was complete. And we can see here that, we did a latency test or a delay test that was stable. Operational status, there was no, routing changes, and performance from a CPU perspective is okay. But we see that output drops increased on a certain interface, and QoS oversubscription was detected on that interface. So it looks like we are finding some problems. Now, we can visualize this with NetBrain um, in a couple of ways. We can use the NetBrain incident portal, which gives anybody a read-only access to that triggered result. Um, if they have an access code or through ServiceNow, you can enable the link just to open the read-only portal. And you can see here, this portal is going to give us the map of that critical application path, as well as the results right here. And we can see, exactly what was found. We we also have the ability to open this directly in NetBrain. So if someone is, a NetBrain user, they can access that result as well, right? So really now we're reducing mean time to repair and even mean time to innocence, right? Mean time to repair because now all those checks the engineer would do are being done by the machine without a human in the loop, and NetBrain is getting those answers and serving them right here, and we can quickly read the status and either perform additional diagnosis or maybe it's even solved our problem, right? And it's found the root cause based on how complex the checks are. Mean time to innocence happens when we talk about this portal because now let's say everything here was green, um, and we tested it multiple times with these triggers. We can have NetBrain run these operations multiple times, and I'll show you that a little more in the dashboard. We can give this to an application team, a server team, a security team, any other team, and this becomes the receipt to tell them, look, we ran these checks on the network and found no issues with your application, with the connection for your server. So this is a problem that you need to go ahead and do your own troubleshooting on because the network is operating as it should be. So you can reduce the time it takes for network teams to escalate these issues or give these issues to the proper teams, right? The speed at which the network team can say the network is not at fault. Now, when this is happening, these issues or any issues that we're triggering, as I mentioned before, the results are also automatically going to the triggered automation dashboard, right? So this is assessing all the triggered automation that has happened on our network. So here's, there's a couple examples here. Here's a third-party slow application troubleshooting check. And here I can see, the automation and the date it ran, right? May 6th, and I can even see a timestamp. And I can understand the results. So it ran on all these devices, and it did not find an issue at the times it ran. Also diving into the results, I can see that this was an operation that was running every 5 minutes, and it ran, quite a few times. So not only are we running it, triggering it to run, we're telling NetBrain, you're going to run this not only one time, but multiple times to basically prove out that there is no issue here, right? So now you can actually have an abundance of proof happening, in very quick succession to tell you that, okay, just because the ping fails once, well, actually or is successful once, that doesn't necessarily mean there's not an issue, but we're going to do it 10, 15 times and prove it out that every time we do this, there's no problem. And that could lead to an auto close of the ticket or, a quicker mean time to innocence to get this ticket to the proper team by saying, hey, your connectivity looks good. We're not finding errors, that sort of thing. Also, of course, for kind of auditing purposes, I can see this incident, has happened uh, based on dates one time. We ran the checks on 7 devices, and everything was successful. If there is a number of alerts like this one here, we can see, we've ran this one a few different times and on 11 devices, and we're actually finding quite a number of alerts, right? This is looking for impacted applications um, that could have potential impact, and I could dive in again here and understand what those issues found were. So we're seeing like next hops are changing, things like that. Um, and understanding those as well. But here I have a summary of everything NetBrain's doing without a human in the loop, so I can understand exactly what impact that's having, right? This many incidents, right? Each block is an incident. This many incidents and these types of incidents are being handled by NetBrain multiple times. So I have something I can also prove out to teams that and leadership that this is how much NetBrain is helping me. So it really gives a really great overview of how NetBrain triggered automation is helping you. You can really see, helps you really understand the benefits for those results. And you can do this for last 7 days, last 24 hours, or last hour, right? And you can see that data. So you can get uh, the time frame that you desire. So um that's uh that's really a demo of the trigger automation, the trigger automation assessment that NetBrain can do. Of course, these results can be brought into, be a part of like the incident dashboard that I talked about in the slides as well. So it can be used in different places to supplement those dashboards. So you can have a really great collaboration as well on what's gone on. So again, there is a Q&A panel. If there's any questions, I'll open the floor up to questions now. Please type any questions you have in the Q&A panel. I'll just wait a couple minutes here to see if anyone has anything. Okay, so I have one question here. Is NetBrain triggered by the creation of the ServiceNow ticket? Yes. So when the ticket is created and submitted, um, Net ServiceNow ensures um, that it's a ticket that would be sent to NetBrain. So there's rules that are created in ServiceNow that help ServiceNow understand if it needs to make the call to NetBrain, and then ServiceNow makes that API call to NetBrain with the ticket information. Okay, so another good question here. Uh, is it required for the ticket to be created by a user or by automation? The answer is both. So if you have a tool like SolarWinds, PRTG, or anything like that, that when it finds alerts, it creates ServiceNow tickets. Uh, as long as it's creating a ticket in ServiceNow, that can trigger NetBrain. So whether that's someone in ServiceNow uh, opening a new ticket, typing a description and submit, or a ticket being created by a third-party tool, that ticket can always trigger NetBrain. Are other ITSMs supported? Yes, so it is an API integration. ServiceNow is our most popular one. We do have an app in the marketplace, but we have done integrations in the past with Sherwell, BMC, um, Manage Engine, I think. Uh, so so yeah, there's definitely yeah, we can support any ITSM. Generally, the rule is if it has an API, we can work with you to get a similar type of integration. Okay, I'll just give another about a minute here for any other questions. Is it possible for any support from NetBrain to create sum of logics. Um, if I'm understanding your question correctly, um, we can definitely, right. Yeah. So, um, if you do, we definitely can help you if you want to create this integration. You can engage, um, you can engage us. We have services that can help you, um, create the integration and help you build the logic. Um, you know, you know, with our automation engineers and things like that. So we definitely do provide options to get you help for that. If you're interested, I would reach out to your NetBrain account team, and they can talk to you more about what your options are there and what that could look like. Yeah, yeah. You can contact support or your NetBrain account team. Yeah, and they'll be able to help you out. Yeah, and if any, actually, also talk. It's a good segue to, if you are new to NetBrain and don't have a NetBrain account right now, or you want to see a further demo, you can request one on our website. Um, you can contact your support team, right, if you want upgrades or assistance as well. Um, if you want to get more training on how to build no-code automation, you can go to our website and sign up for one of our power using user training sessions. We have them all over the US and Europe, um, as well. Yeah, so there's some more resources there for you as okay. I see no other questions, so I will wrap up the session here. Thank you all for attending, and see you again soon.